Hey, Kara.
Hello, I'm here.
You too.
Yeah, welcome back from your grand adventure.
I know, right?
Yeah, I think I want to ask people to put their first and last name in there to change it because I had a problem with knowing who is actually here
Okay.
because I see two people attending, Naomi and Carrie, you know. I
Hmm.
want to ask them to sign in for me, at least in the chat, because I couldn't
Their
tell
first
who
and
was
last
here.
name.
Yeah, who was here and stuff. So
We can
here
do
comes
that.
Kat.
Sorry to
I
be
can do
eating.
it.
I'm trying to
No,
eat
you're
a little
okay.
lunch. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You could even not be on camera if you don't want to. It's okay. It's up to you. Hello. So I was just
Hello.
telling Cassandra that I thought that I might ask people to sign in because I see that they're signing in with just a first name
Can we
or
remind them to change their name when they join? Like,
right or a double name. There's somebody here who's like somebody and someone else, Naomi and Carrie.
no.
So should I tell them that they can't attend as a duo like that? We can't issue,
I mean, that's not helpful, right? When we try to issue
no,
certificate.
Right.
no.
And
I
just
would just have them do, yeah, they need to do their own.
and that was our
Hmm.
rule back in the day as
Yeah.
well. So, I
Hmm.
mean, if we're keeping up with the same rules, mainly if they're going to get a certificate for attending, then
Hmm.
they need to be
Mhm.
at least in their on their own computer on have a
They need to be
device that's
registered
on.
anyway.
They
They
have
need
to
to
be
be registered
registered,
anyway.
Right.
and
So, yeah.
it's not a free for all. And
No.
they have to be a care coordinator. I can't tell if Naomi and Carrie is a care coordinator. You know what I mean?
If they are attending just for kicks, good for them, but
Hmm. Should
may
I
not.
tell them? Well, I'll tell them. I'll just start, okay? Because
Yeah.
it's after
Okay.
time.
Some they need to put their first and last name in there.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
We're letting everybody, hi. We're letting everybody join. It takes a minute or two or three for Zoom to bring in all of our participants. So let's just give a minute or two for people to come in. And this is the
Yeah,
Care
you're fine.
Coordinator Info Share, a monthly info share. And this is a Zoom session. So you are audible. I ask us to please mute unless you're speaking.
142, and I don't feel.
All right, folks are coming in. And a few reminders as we start just for housekeeping. As I was saying, that you should be aware that your camera can go on or it may be on. Also, your audio is permitted to be shared. So please mute yourself during the session until you want to share something. And please know that your camera is on. So make sure that you're ready for your camera to be on. Um, I am Kara with Senior and Disability Services with the training unit, and uh, I'm joined by Cassandra with the training unit, and Kat, Care Coordinator Liaison, and Damon also with the training unit. We are your SDS team serving care coordinators. This is our monthly info share, and it is being recorded. So this is how it works to get your credit for continuing education credit. You must sign in to, you must sign up for the class within our care coordinator course in our SDS Training Academy. And that's how you got the link, hopefully, or maybe you got it in a different way. That's fine. we'll be able to issue you a certificate of attendance after the session for just attending. If you're here with us live today. After today, there will be a recording available on our YouTube channel with a couple of engagements within our Training Academy course, the monthly Care Coordinator Info Share session course for folks who couldn't join us today. And so because of that, what I need you to do is, if you have signed in using your first name only, I need you to change your name to your full first and last name. And then if you can put that you are a care coordinator in your name, that would be great. I see a few of us are still signed in using just a first name. I will not be able to give you your certificate if I just see your first name. It's hard to match up our who has signed up in our course with just a first name. So make sure that I have your first and last name in your sign in here, okay? And you can see your name in the square that is you here in the Zoom. I don't know how to say it better than that, but I think you know what I mean. A lot of us are changing to our first and last name right now, so that's great.
Kara, can you ask the
Yes.
person that's on an iPhone to also put their name in there, please?
Sure. If you're in on an iPhone, it may be that that's just the way that they're accessing audio. If you can change it to a name, please. And also, we can issue a certificate to a single name, not two names, two people attending together. So we need you to attend on an individual device. And that could be a phone, could be a tablet, could be something like that. This is just because we have to reconcile who attended with our sign-in sheet, which is your Zoom attendance that you are working on right now. Okay, so please put your first and last name, one name only per attendance, and we'll get started. And Kat, do I need to make you a co-host?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. All right, awesome. We make each other co-hosts so that we can ensure that the whole show stays alive. Okay. Quick reminder, we'll remind again towards the end to please change your name to your first and last name. No nicknames, no just first name. Too hard for me to tell who it is in this session to be able to reconcile. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and share. I'll share our agenda. Okay, hopefully you can see our agenda. Today we'll talk about a few interesting things. Again, welcome. We have some announcements that are of interest to care coordinators. First thing we thought of was about cost of care amount, otherwise known as COCA. So cost of care amount is a topic that care coordinators are usually familiar with and sometimes have a lot of questions about. The history of the COCA and training for COCA and understanding COCA goes way back. Providers, in a nutshell, COCA is when a person must pay a portion of their cost for services to their provider. And typically, if they have an out-of-home residential provider, they'll pay to them. They may pay to a care coordinator. They may pay to another service provider, depending on how much services they get from that provider. They get a notice from Division of Public Assistance. The Division of Public Assistance determines the cost of care amount because they do a benefit versus cost analysis for that person. And it is possible to change cost of care amounts if DPA is unaware of certain allowable deductions that the person has. And this is DPA info. I'm just going to go in a nutshell here, just a little bit of information about it. But providers accepting cost of care, they've had a lot of questions over the years about that. When a provider accepts cost of care amount, it's like they're getting a copay from the person. So that cost of care amount is reduced in their reimbursement. And there's just been different from Medicaid. I mean, there's been different methodology over the years that's been very confusing. So thankfully, AADD took on the project of making a couple of booklets and informational booklets, one for individuals and families and one for providers. Now, SDS and DPA and Division of Healthcare Services, which is what the HCS stands for, have been hard at work doing these booklets. Of course, SDS has done a lot of work because we've trained cost of care for many, many years in its different iterations. So just be tuned for that. And I'm really happy with the result, at least the final draftee result that was for individuals and families. So just know that we're going to intro that to you and probably include it in a training when it's ready. I wanted to do a short spotlight on SDS Training Academy, and we will take a look at it in just a minute, what's within it. But first, before we do that, I wanted to clarify because we get a lot of feedback and comments and questions over the years about SDS training. And I just wanted to I wanted to sort of re-explain the foundational approach to training that we take in terms of equipping a care coordinator with knowledge they need to do their work. So as we know, when we take training with SDS, this does not comprise the be all and end all of all the training that you're going to need or get or experience through your career as a care coordinator. Care coordination is a home and community-based waiver service, and as such, it is not the role of senior and disability services training to train a care coordinator fully about every skill you need to do this work. What we do, if we did do that, it would be, offering a packaged kind of box. Here it is, do this. Here's some forms for you. Go do this. This is not what home and community-based services are. It's homegrown, it's creative, it's embedded in the needs of the community. Resources known to a care coordinator are all inclusive, not just state resources, but local resources and informal resources and your relationship with people. These are not things that regulations they can encourage and they can require through person-centered in a generic kind of way. But these are not things that we can literally teach to every care coordinator in every community. That is, in fact, the care coordinator's responsibility to seek out. So SDS training does compliance training, and this is compliance with regs, how to do this work so that you're maintaining all compliance requirements, and how to provide a foundation for you to spring from so that you can do the best work a care coordinator can do for their people who they serve in their particular community. And so the care coordinator conditions of participation actually do outline that. And I do just want to take a minute to look at these quickly. I have to stop sharing that and share again. I have had some questions recently about, how do we learn things? What's a CEH and that type of thing. So this is why I'm, sort of re-explaining it now. Hopefully you can see the conditions of participation. So I'm on a weird page right now, but let's go up. All right, so here's conditions of participation for care coordinators. And it has the description of the service, it has the personnel, and the program administrator. I'm not going to read every part of it, but it has the attributes of a program administrator. If you're a care coordinator agency of one, of course, you're meeting both of these, the care coordinator admin and the care coordinator. So you're coming into this through your certification, proving your experience working with people, providing services to people in a human services setting. And it has different, has a year requirement here and different levels of education and equivalent experience underneath it. In addition to meeting that, the administrator possesses knowledge base and skills to carry out the care coordination services program. So this is where an administrator is saying, I am going to be a care coordinator admin, and I have these skills. And these are things that are not, that are part of certification and part of part of your engagement as a care coordinator through certification, i.e., you bring that with you into the work, okay, or else you wouldn't be certified because they wouldn't approve it. Under care coordinator, it says almost the same thing, a little bit of an age difference, and a little bit some details about experience, relevant experience, things like that. And the abilities, a knowledge base of a care coordinator must include person-centered planning, development of a plan and ongoing knowledge about people served, the conditions they may experience, their medical needs, behavioral needs, laws and policies related to SDS programs. This is where our training will come in because, like I said, it's compliance training. That is where we're going to come in and support you. Terminology, elements of care coordination, and then in particular, resources available to meet the needs of recipients. So because it's a home and community-based service, this is what a care coordinator will know or seek out in order to be able to offer services or ideas or connections to a person they serve in their community. So it does, of course, have training down here where there's the concept of gaining CEH. Of course, we do offer CEH training through this session and through our SDS Training Academy, but that is not the only resource for you for CEH. This will tell you more about how to gain 16 hours annually of CEH and the attributes of the certificate, if you will, for a CEH qualifying course. So if you happen to get it outside of SDS training, you can tell what it needs to look like in this section. All right, particularly number 3, documenting the attendance and successful completion of a course with a certificate that tells the instructor the content and the equivalent and the hours, date, time, things like that. Okay, so I will stop sharing this. I just wanted to refocus us on what the care coordinator conditions of participation have to say about being a care coordinator and where you're getting your training, and clarifying that, your care coordinator training from SDS, as you know, we've been doing it for a number of years, and we started doing person-centered-esque trainings covering this topic way before the conditions of participation were even thought of. So at that time, having procedural or social connection or person-centered topics in training was very different for care coordinator training within a state setting. We continue to have that, and we'll continue to go farther with that. But like I said, we cannot be the be-all and end-all or the only faucet from which you draw the water of knowledge around your community and people you serve. You're going to have to work on that as a care coordinator and just be the best care coordinator that you are for your community. Okay, so next on our agenda, I see learning needs assessment. So I'm going to call up our training academy so we can take a look at that from the list of classes and things like that. But I did want to let you know that you'll be getting a learning needs assessment survey fairly soon, not super soon, but as soon as we're done developing it. And this is something we take time to do periodically so that we can refocus our trainings, or if we can train to your needs, and if we cannot train to care coordinator needs, such as how to run your business and time management and things like that. These are training needs, of course, but these are not things that SDS training would tackle. We'll try to come up with some great resources for you for those things, because we do want to support things even if we cannot literally train them. So that will be interesting, and we would certainly love your participation in that. Okay, let me grab my LMS or SDS Training Academy. We'll take a look at that. We do have some new trainings in the works, and we have lots of trainings that are out there already. I can show our agenda to try to portray the list. We have a lot of trainings in the works. We have been short-staffed like many other state offices, so it's taking us a little bit longer. to complete our training dreams to share with you. But they are coming. And we do have one that's available now that um, is interesting. And I do want to talk about it a little bit with this group. And it's new. It's new as of yesterday. So it has some interesting attributes to it, especially to care coordinators. But the learning needs assessment I just talked about, we have a resources and documents course in our training academy that I really want to show you because I feel like a lot of us don't know about it, but this is a place where we're collecting all the answers that we give and some different resources as we build them or redo them. Our new trainings in the works include employment services beyond the basics, which addresses the new regulations for employment services and gives some strategies for requesting them for care coordinators. That class is open to anyone. So employment services, when it's done, will be readily available. We're thinking it's about a 3-hour course, so you don't have to eat it all in one bite, so to speak. You can go back and complete as you can. HAB services for HAB providers is on its way, including summarizing progress towards goals for our HAB providers. I know that is something that a care coordinator faces quite often. A course about modern respectful language, how to talk about disability, how to talk about people we serve, how to talk about medical conditions, and to be respectful in 99.999% of the time, be able to say what you mean instead of using cliches or assumed sort of terms that are outmoded. So we'll do that one. We're having some collaboration with assisted living licensing to teach courses that are of interest to our residential admins, medication self-administration, medication administration in residences with nursing oversight. These are strictly through the lens of residential licensing. So that will be interesting for care coordinators too, because we know that you help people find homes to live in. So we'll start with those and just continue to make it more comprehensive as time goes on. Okay, so that's our short list there. Actually, long list. It takes quite a long time to make these trainings, but it's very interesting to us and important to us that we do it. So let me find the Academy and see if I can't share that. I think it needs to see it. Oh, my screen. Let's try again. I'm looking for my Academy. All right, here we go. And I'm sharing this. So what this is our training academy. Let me see if I can't scroll this around in the right way. Okay, so this is a particular course that we wanted to highlight today, and we do want to encourage you to go in there often and look for courses. We do periodically arrange them now that we have more than just a few in there. So we're hoping that you can find ones that are labeled CEH as time goes on and we add more in there. And I can show you a little bit about how to look at that. I'm going to change myself into a student. And as a student, this portrayal isn't particularly accurate because it still knows that I'm an administrator and a course creator. So it doesn't show me everything exactly that a student would see, but you can kind of see, you'll see some classes that aren't available yet or ones that used to be available and expired and things like that. That's okay. But in terms of this one, resources and document bank, we have our current care coordinator guidebook, which needs to be updated and targeting this month to finish that by July 1. We have the guide to becoming a care coordinator, which was created by AADD, which is a multi-page guide for a new person thinking of being a care coordinator. Very helpful, outlines the steps, very colorful and interesting. An assessment tip sheet for families and individuals. So this is for both NFLOC and ICAP assessments. So if you need to help explain to a family or an individual what that will go like, there is a tip sheet in there for you. The latest Harmony Guide, T24, is in there for you. We're working on updates to that, which before we leave this thought of trainings, I do want to highlight our brand newest training, which isn't a CEH, but it may be of interest to you, and you could even poke through it and just look at the different documents or content if you didn't want to complete it all. Waiver processes for individuals and families done in an easy read format. Easy read means very simple language, non-technical. What does it mean to me? Definitions, some simple illustrations. Yes, the documents are large, so maybe you don't want to print them out. You could show it to somebody or you could email it to somebody, but it's there. The Appendix K saga, there is a FAQs about that, effective going back a year now, but still helpful. Sort of bread and butter now, knowledge. Care coordinator office hours with the QR code, which means you could just scan it and be connected to the office hours at that time as when you scan it. Provider office hours, same thing. It's just a document that if you printed it out and gave it to a provider, they could scan it and join us. It tells on the document when to show up, so to speak. Individuals and families office hour, same thing. You can give it to an individual or family and say, hey, if you have questions for the training team, or we talked about something, but you wanted to know what the state said about that and things like that, they can certainly attend. Please note, individuals and families office hour, we've mostly been getting providers coming to that office hour without an individual or family. So I just wanted to remind us that it's really a family and individual office hour. So we love it if a care coordinator would bring a family or direct a family to come to it. And we have had quite a few, and it's been very interesting. And it's just us that they talk with, same folks you have here. Program integrity documentation for residential providers, residential provider regulations, right from guidance, I should say, right from program integrity. Program statuses. This is a Harmony tip sheet, tracking the assessment process using the program tab, finding out where a client is at with the assessment. Level of care and support plan due dates word merge. Shows due dates for level of cares and support plans of all individuals served by your agency. Guardianship and POA documents accepted by Senior and Disability Services. If you have questions about that, we've compiled the answers here. Contact info for Division of Public Assistance. The T23, which is the Harmony Guide for Personal Care Services Administrators. Unit calculation guides. 15 things to know about cost of care. So if you have questions about cost of care, I know I just talked about a booklet, but the 15 things to know will probably answer your questions. If you have an individual situation that you're facing with cost of care, you are welcome to come to our office hours for care coordinator or provider, or just email us your question to sdstraining@alaska.gov. This would be for a specific question about a person's cost of care. Updated list of DPA contacts, an acronym list of common terms and definitions used by SDS. That was just updated, so now it's a bunch of pages. So it's a brand new list. I encourage you to check it out. Brochures. These were also emailed out to our care coordinator community about becoming a DSP, becoming a PCA, and waiver programs. These were worked on with collaboration from our public information team. So they're pretty spiffy, and we are proud that they're done. They don't answer every individual question, but they give some guidance through the process. Continuing education resources. This is a list of websites that you could explore to get CEH outside of SDS training. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. They are not required. It is just there for you to explore. Requesting waiver services for temporary absence from the home community. This is for the temporary absence questions that typically come up in the summer when people are traveling and they need to have an amendment for traveling. And there's lots of questions that come in about travel and using waiver services while a person is not in their home community. This guidance will answer 99% of them. Please check it. Then if your question is not answered in that document, shoot us an email or come to our office hours. And care coordinator conditions of participation are there just as a convenience because sometimes it's hard to find. It continues to be a little difficult to find things on our website. So we did put that in there for you, and you could check that out. All right. And so the sidebar here is just the list of these things. I'm going to go back to the site home, and you can do this too within the LMS. You can always go back to the site home. I'm still a student, quote unquote, because it knows I'm a student, but it also knows that I'm a person who makes content in here. So let's see. How can we find courses? Dashboard. Let's go to dashboard. This will tell my recently accessed courses. I don't have much in this area as myself as a student. I will try site home. You can customize this for yourself. Usually has a decent list of courses up front here. But if you want to see all of them, some of them are alive and some are not. The voting one is not alive right now, but we'll put it back up when it's time to vote or close to time to vote again. Let's go down to the bottom and hit all courses. So what happens? That brings our categories up. Most popular, new, professional development, certification, Harmony, infant learning program, none of which is care coordinator stuff. You're not infant learning, you're not ILP folks, you're care coordinators. Archived courses, which are older ones.
Yeah.
Some may be visible, some may not be. And then the administration is just there for me to see because I work in the system. Probably won't see that one. In professional development, we have our CEH courses, which you can sort. You can just choose it and you'll find them there. And we have some that are crossover too, like they're for more audiences than a care coordinator. Of course, you'll see Full Lives. It's not available anymore, but it's showing me that because I worked in it. But you'll find a list of our CEHs there. So when we add them and put them under that category, you'll see them there, right?
Kara,
Yes.
can we also let them know about the new courses when they come out after they've been out for 30 days? We're going to move them to a different category. Sorry to
Sure.
jump in.
No, it's okay. So when they come out and they're new courses in the academy, and most popular are the ones that have the most learners in them, or over the 2 years or so, with the 2.5 years that we've had this. They will come out of the new classes and get put into one of the other categories, whether it's professional development or certification courses or something like that, whatever they are. So this is our newest course, open to anyone, and anyone can register. Let's click on that one. This is about CFC and PCS amendments. This is intended for CFC, PCS, and PCS administrators. It does not offer CEH. It does have some video. It does have regulations, and these are downloadable. It also has some tip sheets. So one of the things I wanted to point out is that we have a new regulation around which was planned. It's not like it's brand new, but we wanted to make your attention to it because personal care services admins are now listed in regulation as those who submit amendments for CFC PCS. And they also submit the passive range of motion and the requests for PCS while traveling in the CFC category. Okay, so those were tasks formally done by a care coordinator. And so we have a tip sheet in here around that in Harmony, and I'm hoping it'll still screen share it, which shows the basics of who does what. But I wanted to give us a heads up because what we'll need to do is develop some more training around this and also have an effective date, because it occurs to us that it's not fully announced, but we wanted to start that. So we want to give you a heads up about that now. And so we have this tip sheet about who submits what in Harmony: application for CFC, care coordinator, amendment, PCS, traveling, PCS, notification of transfer. If it's CFC, not just PCS, the care coordinator will do it. PCS admin submits the consumer legal rep agreement. PCS admin submits materials for passive range of motion. Okay, so there's some details in there about what we're looking for with those submissions and things like that. But anyway, I'm trying to sort of highlight that the regulation itself does state that the PCS admin will do it. And the amendment regulation, we could actually view it here in the course. And here's where it says that 127 is the set for the series for PCS. And it says to request an amendment for the end of it, the off period PCS agency shall complete and submit. Okay, so just as an awareness right now, don't change any work that you've done already. We're not saying go back and do things over and things like that. This is a work in progress. It has been a work in progress for quite a while. I'm hoping everybody is saying yay, but stay tuned for us to have more comprehensive information for you and a start date and things like that.
Sarah, when
Yeah,
once again go back to the dashboard and
yeah,
show how you access the
yeah, yeah. Hang on. I see some of these things here. Okay, hang on. All right, so I am still, hopefully, I'll make sure I'm still a student. You might see things here that are like that you're not going to see because like I work in the system, so it knows that I'm a content creator or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't show me strictly student, like as if I didn't have any other entry into this. But you should be able to, as a student, right here underneath any class you might already be in, you can always go to dashboard. And when you first log in, you'll see something like this. There's dashboard, site home. Those are your two that you're likely to find a lot of info in. Dashboard, you would have to arrange that to have your interests. It'll ask you to rearrange it yourself, which you can do with customize this page. I haven't done any of that for myself, but you could explore. You're not going to ruin anything or do anything bad with it. You'll just be customizing your own page. When you go to site home, you will see what says available courses. Okay. And if we have made the course description available to be shown on this page, you'll see some words, like a long bunch of words about it, right? Available courses. All you need to do is scroll all the way down, right? I'm going to go down and I'm going to hit all because it's going to bring me a list of all courses. And when you hit all courses, you'll see the different categories. Okay. So you can check most popular, new classes, or if you want to just use a word like a keyword. So our keyword today is resource, right? We were just looking at that because resources or document bank, right? Resources, try that. Hit the magnifying glass and it will bring you some things that are not yours, like ILP, technical assistance portal. That's not you, that's ILP. So you may not be able to see ILP. I think it might be hidden from a care coordinator in here, but if you do see it, don't worry about it. That's not you. Just go scroll down and you'll see care coordinator contacts. These are all resource. They contain the word resource. So there it is, resources, document bank. And then if you click on that, you'll go to the course that had all those documents in it, which are also listed on the left-hand side. Okay. I don't know if you see competencies. That might be something that we enter, but we don't really work with competencies yet. We will in the future. but it's just kind of housing our courses right now. And you can scroll down on that bar on the left and find the one you want to see. Maybe I wanted the SDS acronym list. It'll show me that. It's like right there. So I click on the actual document to be able to view it. And there you have it. Now it's 3 pages, right? So for sure, we're missing some still, but we did just give this an updo. Okay, so it's probably there. What you're looking for is probably there. Okay, does that help? Resources document bank is blank. Do you can enroll yourself in it.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is available to enroll. You'll need to self-enroll. That's why you'll need to self-enroll. Yeah, yeah, you can do it. Thank you. Yeah, you can definitely, the ones that you can self-enroll, I mean, it's a little bit odd or interesting or whatever, but you can always go back. You're not going to break anything in this. Nothing's bad is going to happen. Up in this bar here where it says dashboard, you can go back to that, and then you can hit site home, and that lists all the courses. And when you see them, you see this little arrow going into a little square kind of that tells you that you can self-enroll. And if you see that little pop-up that said self-enrollment, it's like teeny tiny little thing that says self-enrollment, that means you can enroll yourself. So that is what you'll need to do to be able to enter that course. I'm sure all of us have done all of these. Like you've already done settings, you've already done mandatory reporting for document bank. You could go in there and enroll yourself. Some of the courses don't have that little symbol. That means that those are courses that you'll have to ask us to enroll you in. So if you get stuck and you can see something or you have an idea, you remember, gosh, I sure would like to see that course. This one you can't see anymore because I have to update the information in it and we'll just repost it. CFC course. PASSAR is not care coordinators. It's LTC, long-term care staff that do PASSAR. It's a different reg set. This one's not ready yet, so there's no enrollment, symbol there. So anyway, you get the idea. If you get stuck, you can email us for guidance, sdstraining@alaska.gov. We're happy to help you with that. Um, okay, our agenda. I think I said almost everything I wanted to say. Um, Stay tuned for our regulation about PCS and the who does what. We're clarifying that. We'll hope to work towards that. And of course, we're working on updating the T23, which is our PCS admin book, to include that for Harmony. And then the T24, which is our care coordinator book, instructional book for Harmony. We're excited about the employment services one. It's going to be great and it's going to take some time to complete. But we're hoping to have that one done by, I'm targeting June 15th. So, we'll have some action in there. If you take a course more than once, how do you access additional certificates? It keeps producing the older one instead of the new one. So with those, we renew them annually. So there's, we make a new one in the next year. So if people need it again, they'll have to access the 2026 one. If you are needing a copy of your if you're needing a copy of your receipt of your certificate, there are a couple things you can do. Let me see if I can show you that. You can always email us and say, hey, I missed my certificate. And by the way, I know that we sent a blank certificate to everyone in this course. This monthly info share. Sorry for that. That was an error, operator error. And it was not. I didn't know that the system was literally going to send you all a certificate. It didn't, they were blank because it didn't happen yet. So don't worry. I will give you a heads up by email when you can go in and download your certificate. I just have to compare everybody who attended here with who's signed up in there. And then I will invite you to go ahead and download it. And it'll have your name on it and all those good things. So how can I look up my certificate in this system? All right. So if I go to I don't know, I should say my certificates somewhere here. And it might not for
Go
me.
into
I
the
don't know.
course. Go into the
Yeah.
course you want.
Make sure I'm still a student. Student. Okay. Let me go into the course that I want. And that would be, let's say this one. CIR training. Critical Incident Reporting Certificate. Might not show me that. Usually it says my certificates
No, go up a
in
little
this.
bit, Kara.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
go to the certificate, go to the blue side and click on critical incident report certificate on the blue side.
Okay.
Okay. Once you get there, now go over here inside of white and where it said critical incident report training certificate, where you see the little certificate. No, go down.
Uh-huh. This one here.
Right there. Click on that. Okay, now
Okay.
you go and find your name.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. There you go. You can find your name, then you can download. So there's a lot of names here because this is how many have taken it this year. I don't know if I've taken it this year, but I can find my
Just
name.
use Aaron King as an example and just show them how
First
to
person.
download. That's the first one
Okay.
up there.
Gotcha.
Just
All right.
and you click on your name, but it's a little download file there. So you just hit
Yeah.
download it to go to your computer, and then you just download your certificate and print it out or email it or whatever you need to do.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Cassandra. So you go to the course and you go to the certificate of the course, and then you click on it and select your name. Basically, that's how you can find it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Back to our agenda, which I think I'm done. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat? If you take a course more than once, we switch them out. On the subject of PCA services, can a parent be the paid PCA of a minor who qualifies for PCA service hours? Um, Good question. So a parent has a duty to support, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? And under CFC, PCS, the person has facility level of care. A legal representative can be paid. But first of all, a minor under the age of 6 cannot have PCA, right? They don't serve under PCA. So if this is a person under the age of 6, they're not going to get PCA. If they're CFC, it's possible that the parent could become the paid caregiver. If it's regular PCA without CFC, then that is not the case. Am I right, team?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're all saying yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. CFC and they are a minor. Okay, if they're over age 6, it is possible that they could become a paid PCA. Of course, the rules about how much is approved and things like that per the assessment and the service plan, that all that stuff still applies. Yeah. All right. that's all I had. Team, do you have more that you want to share? Or did I forget something? Or
No, I
we
think you covered everything. I think that document bank is underutilized, so I'm glad that we went over that because we add things to it, um, and add things to it.
right. A lot of that, it's kind of like our own personal FAQ, but with like a lot more information. Like if you need to know about Coca without that booklet, go there and look at that 15 tips. There's really, a lot there. Then you can be better informed and you could spend your time with us about the person you're helping and their Coca issues, whatever that may be, if there are any. Our office hours are always there, in our agenda that we send out, um, our info shares, resources. We don't list our we do not list uh, our eThink sites on our website, and we will not be doing that. So please don't try to like search for it there because the eThink site, we purchase it, costs a lot of money. Each single seat, if you will, costs a lot of money. So we pay for that. It's not a free resource that everyone in the world who has a computer with internet access would be invited to find that link and go create a seat. It really just is for our Medicaid community of providers and our long-term care community and our SDS training folks, our licensing folks, our Division of Public Assistance. They think a few of them are in there. Our SDS staff, Pioneer Home staff are in there. They're all state people, and they're all taking courses in there.
Karen,
Director's memos. Yeah, go ahead.
can we make a little comment about the eThink site to make sure they're putting their first and last name when they
Yes,
create a user account and having their new employees to create a new user account? Do not use
yes,
your business name
correct.
and use an email that you think you're going to have for a long time because keep creating new accounts take up space. So I understand people move from job to job at times, but you might want to think about which email you could carry with you from place to place. We appreciate that if y'all help us pass that type of information along when you're asking them to sign up. So maybe they want to get in Harmony. You need them to go in Harmony, or they need to get their CIR, just what. Um, if you could help us carry that along to the new members that's coming into eThink.
Right. Everybody needs to use their first name and last name. It needs to be their legal name. Some people enter into it and put their first name as Miss and their last name is Kara, like Miss Kara. That might be a name they like to be called by, but that's what's going to go on your certificate when you start earning them. And it's not going to be easy to call that legit in an audit. So people need to be using their real first and last name. Only one membership in the e-learning academy for each person. It's not an agency one. You can't put your agency, and it needs to be a person. It's your um, it's your profile. So if you change to another agency and you need a different address in there, that's okay. You can change the address. We recommend that you put an email address that you can always access in there, like your own email address. This is not hooked in any way with any other processes, not hooked into certification, not hooked into Harmony, not hooked into anything else. This is just your Learning Academy profile. So you can put your own email address, not your agency's address. That way you'll always have access, even if you quit and go work someplace else, and your profile contains an email that you cannot access anymore. We do work a lot with duplicates in there. A lot of times people will go in and they'll forget and they'll just make another profile. We try to limit that because there's just only so many seats and we have to buy them in big chunks. And it would be a bit much to try to make a case for more chunks, more seats to spend more money when most of them are just duplicated and not active anyway. If a membership in there remains inactive for 6 months, typically it'll be made inactive, suspended. So that is not going to happen to a care coordinator because you're going to go in there a lot more than that. We know who you are. You fill out the profile and says, I'm a care coordinator, asks you who you are, asks you why, what your type of service is, then we're going to know never to suspend your account. Okay. But we do have folks that only go in once every, even up to 4 years now, that are program admins for, a service not like care coordinators, um, like for residents or something like that. But we try to keep them active as much as we can. But we will get rid of duplicate accounts and merge them into one, and then ones that have been inactive for 6 months or more without any other evidence that they'll come back, into the system because we need room for, active memberships. So, thanks for answering the questions. Resource Bank, unfortunately, we can't put it on approved forms. It's just because it's within our LMS, we can't make that link available to everyone broadly on the web. Director's memos are on the web, so we don't want to duplicate that. I don't want to reproduce the website within the LMS because it's really not that. We're just trying to curate the list of documents in there for you, for the work that you do. How many care coordinators do we have? 203. How many active care coordinators that carry caseloads? We're not sure. We'd have to get back to you. Then there was a question about, was there anything in play about an acuity rate for care coordination? Not at this time. Not at this time. It's been talked about in the past. This certainly has been brought up by care coordinators in the past. But as far as action towards that, we are not aware of movement towards creating regulations around that right now. Okay. So we're at 4 minutes till the top of the hour. Final call for questions, thoughts.
Can I just say that?
Sure. Go ahead.
Can I just say that when 2020 hit and we had the extra month of care coordination that we could do, our extra unit, they removed kind of something in billing where it never in the past prior to that allowed you to bill twice in 1 month. It just kicked it back. It said you already did it if you made an error. Well, from 2020 to about now, probably early this year, that was removed. So for 5 years, you could have accidentally billed a second person and gotten paid for it and not even known it if you didn't really watch that. And because I knew it never really happened, I wasn't watching really closely. And I did go back through and find some errors like that I had to go back and deal with. So I'm just giving everybody a heads up that if you thought that was gone, it is now, but you did have about 5 years there where it wasn't stopping that second billing. So just a heads up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, those are questions that would go towards our Gainwell folks, the provider inquiry or something like that. And you can also check your own billing records and things. And it's a lot of times over the years, this is my observation, sometimes they change waiver services things the last. It really isn't today's menu that they do because they work with all providers. They work with medical offices and the myriad of Medicaid providers that are out there. So thank you. And it's great because then you have a chance to correct overbilling, and that's always preferred.
Kara, the other thing too is that I don't know if people know that when you are billing, that they bill under the Medicaid number and not the person's name. So if there's an error with the Medicaid number and you get paid for that, you have to do a payback because they bill under the Medicaid number, and that can cause. And we are, I don't check my templates every month, or I hadn't been. So believe me, I will be from now on. But all care coordinators need to know that, or anybody needs to know that as far as when they're billing for people.
And that's exactly what happened is I copied a duplicate of another client's one and I made a mistake and didn't change that thing, and it allowed me to bill for that person. Although the name was a new person, the Medicaid number was the old person that I'd already billed for that was in my system. And that's how, those you have to look at the number and watch your
That,
duplicates.
Denise, you have to pay it back, and you can't, if it's over the year date, you can't rebill for that other person. So essentially, you're losing, you're paying back twice.
Okay, I'm going to come clean. Quality Assurance and Program Integrity sent me a letter and caught 2 of my issues, and they were both issues that I did that I had to pay back. So that's exactly why I'm telling you all this. It's happening, people. They're catching it, and then I'm going back and I'm like, oh, geez. And I called them on it and said, how is this even possible? And they said, well, we removed that restriction to stop that second billing in 2020, and we never turned it back off again. And just early this year, they said they turned it back on. So yeah, it's happening.
Yes, it is. I know of 2 other people. I know of 2 other people that got letters besides Denise and obviously myself.
Right. So Gainwell is the resource for this. So Gainwell has a training unit, and the contact person is Marilee Reinhardt Davio, and she is the one that would do this type of training. And you check your RA messages on your through your billing. They have RA messages posted on the Gainwell site as well. The most that we could do at SDS is to bring you to the MedicaidAlaska.com site and show you where the RA messages are. We cannot develop or create a training like this or host one. That would have to be Marilee and her team doing that.
But Marilee is and thanks Denise for putting her email address. I was looking for it. Marilee is great. She has come before, I think a few years ago, and she kind of briefly talked about some things, and I think voiding claim or something like that, in a different forum. But Marilee is very, very good, very responsive. And Susie, she's fantastic. I think you can reach out to her, and she will be very happy to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
And either direct you to something that we have, or maybe do something on her own. But she's very responsive. Gainwell, but Marilee is very responsive. So I think you won't regret reaching out to her. And she does do they do monthly meetings, I think, and they do have some trainings as well. But I would just reach out to her directly and ask for some, whether it's training or some resources regarding that. But she's got lots of information. She's very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We'll go ahead and bring our session to a close and wait for the heads up about getting your certificate that has your name on it. And we'll get you that. Also, for those of us, I know it doesn't make sense to say it here because we're all here, but if you have colleagues who couldn't attend, they can access the recording and some interactions after today. Give us today to get that loaded in. Okay. Appreciate your work. Thanks everybody for all you do, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.